I am Lee Jennings. I sing for the Funeral Portrait, and we have a new record coming out, which, depending on when this happens, Friday the 13th, which is this Friday. It's called Greetings from Suffocate City.
Beautiful, Lee. Thanks for joining us today, mate.
Thank you so much for having us,
My
or
pleasure.
having me, I guess, shall I say.
It's only just dawned on me that Friday, September 13th is the date it's coming out. Was that deliberate or was it just one of those things?
Us being what we quote spooky band, right? Us being a spooky band, 1000% we did that on purpose.
Good on you. So the album is called Greetings from Suffocate City, and it is out Friday, September 13th, mate. So tell us a bit about it, the album from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. No, it was a lot to do with growing up, I was always the weird kid. I was always like the loner or that kind of guy, and I always got made fun of for being either too tall or being weird or being like into I was heavily, especially growing up, into like anime or like into musical theater and just different from everyone else. Everyone else, especially around me, was into sports. And like I wanted to write a record that was kind of a love letter to the younger me, right? So
Okay.
every song has to do with some sort of experience that happened to me in, prior years.
Right. Cool. Yeah, so you've gone on record as saying that this album is a statement for you guys. So how so?
So for us, we've been working on this for so long, right? Like we've been working on it at least for 5 years. So we started in 2019, and some of these songs have captured that long, or it took us that long to capture what we meant to say or what we've been feeling. But then there's also songs that we wrote last December, that made it onto this final record that beat out songs that we wrote in 2019, so it's cool to think that how much of a statement piece this really is for us. And this is our time. This is the time for the Funeral Portrait to bring our songs to what we hope to be the masses.
Mhm. And the press release alludes to a story arc that's told across the album's 14 songs, mate. So is there actually a common theme running through the album?
A little, but a lot of it is different story pieces throughout my life, right? So like I think a lot of it has to do with, the idea of love loss and the end of a relationship or the end of a friendship or actual, I have a song there's a song on the record called Hearse for Two, and that's about, the loss of my grandmother, who's one of the people that helped raise me, and it's one of these things that it's kind of moving past the loss of something. So every song kind of it brings into that sense.
Yeah, cool. And you said it's been like about 5 years you've been working on this, mate. Like your first album, A Moment of Silence, was released back in 2016. So how does Greetings from Suffocate City differ musically to that?
So I think a lot of it is, well, almost all the old members of the band aren't involved anymore. So basically, it's just me who was on that record that is still here, which has a lot to do, of course, the sound. But I think the feeling of what the band is still there because we've always been a very passionate band, and believed in the same stuff. But I think now it's way more about carrying the torch for the more unique or broken or hurt people than ever before.
Mhm. And 8 years is a long time between records, mate. So what have you learned about yourself and your music, I guess, in that period?
So much. I mean, I think back then I was just floating by, right? I just did music for fun, more or less. I was doing it as a career, but it was more for fun, right? Now it's my life, and not in just because I quote have it as a job, but more just because this is literally my life. I eat, sleep, breathe this band, and nothing is stopping me from continuing that forever now, and I think I've also found the right members as well. I think it took us a little while to find the right guys, and it's cool that we have the right people involved now.
There's a few tracks on there that have got guest artists such as Spencer Charles from Ice Nine Kills. You got Danny Warsnop from Ask in Alexandria. There's Burt McCracken from the Used and Eva Under Fire. So tell us about the songs that they're on and why you chose those people specifically for them.
Yeah, of course. So Spencer, it was really cool because we played his horror convention. He's got a horror con called Silver Screen Con every year. And last year he invited us out to play. We got to play. And then this year, you know, I reached out to him early this year and I was like, hey, what do you think about being on our song Suffocation City? And he was like, yo, let me jam it again. So I said it to him. He was like, oh, I have to. Like this song's gonna be perfect for me. And it kind of just one thing after the next. I knew that I was in LA filming the music video,
Wow.
like literally a week later. It was like crazy how that happened. And then for Bert of the Used, I grew up loving the Used. I'm like, quote, an emo kid. That's what I love so much, like the darker side of rock music. And the Used was one of those bands that did it for me. And so, with that, I just thought, hey, like, what if we tried to get Bert and our Lexi? She was like, I know his manager. And I was like, okay. and then she sent his manager our music and he sent it to Bert and Bert loved the song and he was like, oh, I'll do it 1000%. Let's go. Let's do it. And he did it. And it was just insane to see like how fast and how nice and incredible he was to us, so it's nothing but awesome that he's featured and that he's involved.
Hmm. Now, overall, I guess, mate, like the Funeral Portraits music is a mix of rock, punk, and theatrics with a bit of a pop undertone, mate. So where did that all come from? It's not like your likely bedfellows.
Yeah, so a lot of it comes from, we all grew up listening to like more of the post-hardcore, more the like heavier music, I think. I think it also comes from us loving theater. I love theater. Caleb, our guitar player, loves theater. It's something that we both grew up doing, is musical theater. And I think even Homer, our drummer, did a little bit of theater growing up, and I think for us, it's like we wanted to bring that aspect into modern rock music, especially more the active rock world, because that hasn't really been done before. So it's cool to experience it all together.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, the theatric side of your music, it's evident when you play live and you're on stage, mate. But how do you flesh that out in the studio and like put it with your music? It wouldn't be easy.
Yeah, it's not. I think a lot of that comes with the performance, right? Is I don't get in the booth and just go ba da ba da ba ba ba. I go ba da ba 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 da da. I want to feel it, right? Like I want to have that emotion behind it, right? And I think that's more, and it's when the guys play, when Homer's playing drums, he's feeling it. He has that emotion. He has that power behind it. He's not just getting in the booth and just being like, oh, whatever, it's a life or death thing for us. Our music is that way because that's how we have to be, because we can't just go back and live our normal lives as what, grocery clerks or something, you know what I mean, like what are we supposed to do, like it's either this or death. And I know that sounds dramatic, but that's the truth.
Now, I had a bit of a look, mate, and as far as I can tell, you guys haven't actually been to Australia before on tour. Is that correct?
No, we
When
haven't, but
when are you going
maybe
to fix
next
it?
year. Next year. It seems, to be honest, it might happen next year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, cool. So just say someone's listened to this interview and they hadn't really heard of you guys before, like give us three songs from the Funeral Portrait. It could be from any stage of your career, but three songs that they can listen to sort of get to know the band a bit better.
Yeah, so Suffocate City is probably the best one because that's the more like upbeat rock version, right? So we have Suffocate City. There's You're So Ugly When You Cry. That's more the punky pop punk vibe that we have. And then probably off the new record when it's out, Stay Weird. Stay Weird is this piano ballad, like over the top dramatic song that I kind of wrote about. It's like a love letter to the younger me about
Yeah.
staying just original and be yourself. So Stay Weird as well.
Very good. All right, bro. Well, before we let you go today, Lee, I've started a new segment called Photo Bomb on here. So I've basically gone through your Facebook page and I've dug up a couple of photos from the
Oh, heck yeah.
past. And I'm
I
going to chuck
love
them up in the background here and issue you with a bit of a please explain.
I'm so hyped.
I just got to make sure I get the right ones from your band because I got a few up there. Is that you guys?
Yes, that's me pulling Caleb's hair.
Right, I thought you were doing the Matrix or something there. It
Yep.
looks like a pretty cool little move.
Yep. So we do a lot of fun things on stage. So Caleb will take his guitar off and he'll swing it around his head and stuff. And during that, I'll try and pick on him. And I think that show, that was one of the first arena shows. I think if not the first arena show that we ever did on this tour. And that's me. I grabbed his hair and I think eventually he got brought down to the ground off of that.
I like old mate there in the background. Like he's seen it that many times before. He's not even looking. He's just like, oh yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
boys
he
are at it
doesn't.
again.
Yeah, he knows it's happening. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Very cool. And then we've got this one that looks like a lot of fun.
Oh yes, so that's from Silver Screen Con. That was from last year. We got to meet a lot of fans. A lot of them dress up like him as Captain Spaulding from House of Thousand Corpses. So for us, it's just about meeting everybody and having a good time. That was kind of crazy because that line went for like 3 hours. We thought maybe 10 people were going to show up. And it
Wow.
just kept happening.
What was that? Just like a stall on House of a Thousand Corpses, or?
Yeah, no, it was just a million different people from all around. Like it was just crazy.
Wow, yeah, we don't have nothing like that over here in Australia. It'd be insane. Very cool. All right, bro. Well, thanks very much for your time today, Lee. The
No, of
album
course.
Greetings from Suffocate City is out this Friday, September 13th. And I had to listen to it before the interview, mate. And very awesome album, very diverse, but very awesome. So thanks for your time, bro.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I'll see you soon.